Hi there. It's been my experience that many people study thermodynamics but don't actually have a good idea of what is entropy and why it's so useful and valuable as a concept in thermodynamics. In the course of the video, I'm going to go through a logical progression. I'm going to go through a number of points that I'm going to display that I want to show the logic behind how entropy comes about. So this is the objective as to how I want to go about presenting this particular concept. So the first point that I'm going to make is that there is a relationship between the direction of a process and the disorder or randomness of the final state. We know very well that in nature, certain things happen spontaneously. For example, if we burn some wood or coal or whatever it is the case, then we know that gases are released. It doesn't happen naturally that we randomly have some gases and they reform wood. Also, we know that a ball will roll down a hill. It doesn't naturally or spontaneously would go up a hill. So there's key distinctions between the direction of a process. If we're talking about direction, we're asking what is going to happen naturally, what is going to happen spontaneously. So there is a link between the direction of a process and the disorder or randomness of the final state. And the second point is that what happens naturally is the thing that causes the most chaos. If we look at a deck of cards, the cards are initially in a ordered state. It's in our hands. If we take this deck of cards and we throw it in the air, how do the cards land? You can see in the picture what happens naturally is that they are scattered, they are chaotic, they are in a disordered state. That is our experience of the world. The final state of this system, the deck of cards, is chaotic. So this is now talking about the disorder and the direction of the process. What happens naturally is the thing that causes the most chaos in the end. If we think about the free expansion of a gas, so there's a picture on the bottom right. You can see that there's two chambers, chamber A and chamber B, and there's a gas in chamber B, and it's isolated. There's a valve that's closed that's blocking it from chamber A. If we open the valve, or when the valve is opened, the gas fills the empty space of both A and B. And why does this happen? It happens because the molecules become spread out and are more disorganized in the larger space compared to when they were just confined just on one side. So why does having more space correspond to more chaos? Well, a simple analogy would that be of a child, a very small child. So if we put the child in a small room, there is limited space for the child to move about and cause more chaos. However, if we put the child in a larger space, the child is more likely to run amok and do a lot more chaotic things in the long run. So it's the same logic. If there is an increase in space, that something initially was confined and is now given more space to occupy, then that corresponds to a more disorganized final state. The next point that I want to make is that heat is also associated with disorder of the final system. If we add heat to a body, we increase its average molecular speeds and therefore the randomness of its motion. So by heating up something, we increase the kinetic energy of the molecules, and this in turn causes more chaos. So if we add heat, we're increasing the amount of chaos. Also, the next point is a process will happen naturally only if the final state is more disordered or random than the initial state. We can definitely see that. We can see that with the example of the cards. We can see that with the example of the gas and many other things in real life. We could see via a great deal of examples that what happens naturally is when the final state is more disorganized than the initial state. So if we could somehow measure the disorder in the final state and compare it to the disorder in the initial state, and if that difference was somehow positive, then we would know for certain that a process is spontaneous. So can we quantify disorder? Can we somehow look at the final state, measure or put a number to the amount of disorder and chaos, and compare it to the amount of chaos that was there initially in the initial state? And if the chaos in the final state is more than the chaos in the initial state, or if we take the difference in chaos between the two, we would be able to determine what exactly would happen spontaneously or what would happen naturally. We'll be able to determine the direction of the process. And that is where entropy comes in. So we can characterize and give disorder tangible numerical values. So disorder is given a quantitative measure that's called entropy. So what I'm going to demonstrate now is exactly how entropy is defined mathematically in thermodynamics. And there's a specific scenario that I'm going to use to illustrate this. And that scenario is the infinitesimal reversible isothermal expansion of an ideal gas. So we have a little cylinder there on the right-hand side, and it's an ideal gas that's in it. And we are injecting an infinitesimal amount of heat, dq. So since this is an isothermal process, the temperature does not change. So since an ideal gas has no intermolecular interactions, this means that the internal energy is made up of only the kinetic energy of the molecules, which in turn is a function of only temperature. The implication is that the internal energy of an ideal gas depends only on temperature. So this is a known fact and it has been well studied. An ideal gas, the internal energy of an ideal gas depends only on temperature. So with this in mind, also considering the fact that this is an isothermal expansion, we can write the first law. So if we write the first law, then what we're going to have is du, that's the change in internal energy, is equal to dq plus dw. And we know that dw is minus pdv. So using this final form, du is equal to dq minus pdv, we know that du is equal to 0. So we end up with dq is equal to minus dw, which is equal to pdv. So the pressure, we can replace this with the ideal gas equation and put it in terms of pressure. So the ideal gas equation says that PV is equal to nRT. So if we solve for pressure, then we get nRT over V. So we substitute that pressure with nRT over V. And of course, now we have dV there, so we have to multiply it by dV. And that's how we get dQ is equal to nRT over V times dW. So we're going to gather some terms on one side and the other terms on the other side. So on one side, we're going to gather dV over V. And on the other side, we'll get dQ over nRT. So this ratio dV over V is a very significant thing. So what it is the fraction the volume changed by adding heat dQ to the system. So the greater this fraction, the greater the level of disorder. It means that there's more space for the molecules to move around in. So this is very, very significant. That ratio dV over V actually represents the percentage change of the volume of this gas inside the cylinder. And remember earlier I said, I used the analogy of a child, in that if there's more space, it means that there's more chaos. So that dV over V is the percentage change, and that is proportional to chaos. And that's equal to dQ over nRT. So we see that the fractional volume change is proportional to the ratio dQ over T. In the denominator, we have N and we have R. Both of them are constants here. We don't need to worry about them. So dV over V is proportional to dQ over T. In other words, the percentage volume change, which is actually a representation of the amount of chaos, is proportional to dQ over T. So dQ over T, what that means is that it too is representative of the amount of chaos that has happened. So this is what entropy is. dQ over T is an inadvertent measure of the amount of chaos that has resulted in the system. And we give that specifically the name entropy. So this is how entropy comes about. This is how we have defined entropy to be dQ over T. So in the course of this video, what I've done is I've spoken about the natural progression of processes or the direction of processes, and I indicated that the final state is always more disordered than the initial state, and entropy is actually a representation of disorder. And we show that by looking through this situation of a reversible isothermal change of an ideal gas. We have characterized disorder to be representative of dV over V, the percentage volume change. And we saw that is proportional to dQ over T. So this is why we have defined entropy in this manner here. That is how it is representative of chaos of the system. So thank you very much for watching.